Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to the program Eyes on Corruption, a program that comes to you every Thursday, 7 p.m. Nigerian time. And today's topic is in memory of the ENDSARS protest. Topic is ENDSARS Memorial. Any lessons learned on the part of the government and the citizens? This is the program Eyes on Corruption. Sit back and watch the jingles, and we'll be back shortly.
Eyes on Corruption, Global Coalition for Security and Democracy in Nigeria, GCSDN presents Eyes on Corruption, a weekly x-ray of social and political issues. Eyes on Corruption, an expose on issues that bother on corruption-related practices in Nigeria. Eyes on Corruption, informative, educative, and enlightening. Eyes on Corruption, every Thursday, 7 p.m. Nigerian time. Join us on our social media platforms on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and our website, gcsdn.org. Host, J. Ehizefua Ohali.
Thank you once again, and welcome back to the program Eyes on Corruption. We are reaching you live under the auspices of the Global Coalition for Security and Democracy in Nigeria. Uh, we are streaming on multiple social media platforms, including YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and of course our website, gcsdn.org. The topic today is about ENDSARS Memorial. Today, the 20th of October 2022, is the second anniversary of the ENDSARS Memorial. There's a nationwide protest by the youths of Nigeria demanding for an end to police brutality and government's lack of political will to fix the nation. You could recall that many young Nigerians had raised the alarm alleging harassment by security operatives for buried laptops and were branded internet fraudsters. The development, among others, led to the ENDSARS protest in 2020 on the 20th of October, protest where youths who gathered and waving the nation's flags were shot at and killed by the military. The investigation panel set up to look into the incident has described the action of the military at that time as, in quote, a massacre. To this day, the report of the panel has not been implemented, and justice for the dead heroes and surviving victims and their families is still being denied or delayed. What is your take on this? Can this effect of the massacre impact the forthcoming 2023 elections by any means in terms of voters' apathy or voters' participation? Let me know what is your take on this as we go along. As before we go ahead, let's just observe a minute silence. May the souls of the victims of ENDSARS rest in peace. Fellow Nigerians, today is the 20th of October 2022, and it is the second anniversary of the ENDSARS protest that saw to the killing of unarmed, defenseless, and innocent Nigerians who were only calling the attention of the government to police brutality and high-handedness that was pervading the whole nation at the point in time, and acts carried out by the Special Anti-Robbery section of the Nigerian police force that was taken to a very unacceptable situation, and the youths had to gather and, by way of peaceful protest, call the nation's government and the political operators to caution the police, and demanded for a number of other items that will see to a good and properly positioned nation in a community of nations. But instead of the government heeding to this call and listening to the voice of reasoning, they were coming up with a strategy that is self-destructive. They went ahead and ordered the military to go and shoot at sight those peaceful protesters at the now famous Ground Zero, which is the Lekki toll gate. And people were killed, maimed, wounded. Families lost their loved ones. And some very promising youths, professionals in various fields, were affected, were either killed or wounded during this imbroglio. To this day, there was a panel of inquiry set up by the Lagos state government and other governments in other states of the Federation. Some of these panels came to a logical conclusion that, especially the one I had in Lagos, that the action amounted to massacre, that bodies were recovered from the sites and also identified in the hospitals and mortuaries with dead bodies resulting from that military intervention on peaceful protesters. Now, the panel of inquiry did submit a report, but unfortunately, as at today, the implementation of this report has been in limbo. By so doing, the government is either delaying justice for the victims or denying their justice, because it is said that justice delayed is justice denied. If the panel of inquiry has submitted that it was a massacre of some sort for the Nigerian military to use live ammunition to shoot at peaceful protesters, then that is an aberration, that is an abnormality, and the government needs to sit and look into this, because if you look at the demands of the protesters, those points raised are points that, when tackled, Nigeria will be better off. But if the government is paying a deaf ear to that kind of clarion call by the youths of the nation, then something is amiss. It is either the government is insensitive to the plight of the people, or they are outrightly irresponsible and do not want to do what will ameliorate the pains of the teeming 200+ million population of Nigerians. On this note, I will be looking forward for your inputs, comments, and suggestions. Reach us live and put out your comments, suggestions on our platforms, on our various platforms, and we'll be responding to them as they come. As we go along today, there was a peaceful protest in Lagos, but surprisingly, it is already recorded that there was some level of high-handedness by the police as they went ahead to start shooting tear gas, dispersing people that are just commemorating the second anniversary of the loss of lives of peaceful protesters in the Lekki toll gate, the ground zero of the ENDSARS. If you understand what it is to be in a country where youths are being targeted and profiled, even when there's no crime committed, any youth that is seen with a laptop or a mobile phone or gadgets, whether they are genuine business people or students, they are easily labeled as fraudsters and internet fraudsters. That is not a welcome development. And the ENDSARS protest was made to call attention of the government to these irregularities on the part of the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, which was not properly handled by the government of the day. Be that as it may, happening to a sense of reasoning would have been for the government to listen to the cries of these youths rather than sending armed, fortified military men after them to engage in a kind of a warlike situation with defenseless and unarmed youths. On this note, a lot of calls from the international community condemning that act was heralded. And even as at today, that people went to commemorate this anniversary, the second anniversary, people were still roughly handled, and that is not acceptable. I'm going to show a clip where people were chased out from the various arenas today, where people went to kind of commiserate or just have a memorial kind of symbol to remember the dead heroes that were victims of this government's high-handedness. You may just sit back and watch this. It is not, it is a gory sight, but I crave your indulgence to use your discretion, viewer's discretion advised in this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the program Eyes on Corruption, the program that comes to you every Thursday, 7 p.m. Nigerian time. And today's topic is ENDSARS Memorial. Any lessons learned on the part of the government and citizens? What is your take on this? Let us know on the comment section as we go ahead. Now, police brutality was the major cross of the matter that brought about ENDSARS protest in the year 2020, October 20. As of today, this same police brutality is still experienced in every nook and cranny of Nigeria, as reported in various social media platforms in recent times. There were situations where police officers were seen manhandling or flogging ladies. There were situations where police officers on the highway, mountain roadblocks on the highways, were seen threatening and, of course, assaulting travelers on the road. Although some actions have been taken by the police authorities in dealing with some of the culprits found wanting in this regard, but much more needs to be done by the police force to end police brutality. Police force needs to be properly trained on how to engage with the civil society, how to engage with the civilians and the society at large. Police should be properly trained on areas of conflict de-escalation and, of course, violence, control of violence in any situation. They should also, as a matter of urgency, be properly trained in the area of psychology, and it is a recommendation that before engaging or recruiting any police officer, the mental health status has to be ascertained to serve as a proactive measure to curb some of the irresponsible behaviors of some policemen that have been noticed in our highways and on our streets, and even in police stations where people are not treated with courtesy, where people are treated with disrespect, where rights of citizens have been trampled upon in various ways and forms. It behoves the hierarchy of the police to look at these areas and ensure that these issues are properly tackled to bring about a cordial police and citizens relationship. On that note, I want to just play a clip on police brutality that I have here. Sit back and watch, please.
One reason, I was just standing there. No interviews, nobody talked to me. I was only apprehended while walking on the street, and I'm here in a Black Maria. I don't know what happened. Okay, Christopher, where do you say you work exactly? You say? Where do you work? I work with Dotum Construction Limited.
Why were you picked up this morning?
Because I was just walking. Okay. Yes. Because I was just walking. Your name again? Christopher Emmanuel Oboji. Picked up because I was walking in my country.
This is the shame of a country, the Nigerian police force, and their notorious Black Maria vehicle used in arresting unarmed protesters on the 13th day of February 2021. They cannot even afford to repair their vehicle despite the billions of naira budgeted annually for the Nigerian police force. It is a shame that the Inspector General of Police cannot account for what is budgeted for the Nigerian police force annually. Little wonder they are known as the worst police force on earth under the despotic leadership of retired Major General Muhammadu Buhari.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, that was a despicable sight. People being picked up randomly, for just walking around without properly identifying the true criminals in our midst. There are criminals parading the highways, kidnapping people, committing armed robbery. These people are not chased after as expected to get the desired results. but law-abiding citizens that go about their normal businesses are often picked up on the road. Now, what has the citizen or the government learned from the ENDSARS protest? Has there been any positive result to show that the government has learned anything from the ENDSARS protest? Have the citizens also learned anything from the ENDSARS protest on how to engage the military, or on how to defend themselves, or how to air their views? This is one of the things that comes to mind. Now let's go to the comment section and see what we have for comments and suggestions. We have, the government has not learned any lesson. That is why they are hiding the panel reports. Simple. The government has not learned any lesson from the ENDSARS protest. Today marks the second anniversary of the ENDSARS protest. And of course, if the government has learned anything, by now there would have been a number of solutions that have been proffered to the demands of the citizens, of the youths who were demanding for a just society, were demanding for responsibility and accountability on the part of government and the various agencies, and of course, the various security outfits of the federal government. Thank you, GCSD and Human Rights Group. The government has not learned anything. Nothing has been learned. Even at today, at the Lekki toll gate, people were being manhandled, tear gas and other devices were being thrown at protesters. Well, these are not actually protesters. They are just people who came, for the memorial of the dead heroes that were shot at the Lekki toll gate by the military men in October 2020. There's supposed to be a better way of engaging the citizens, and there must be accountability on the part of these gun-wielding police officers that are perpetrating acts of high-handedness in tackling civil situations. Police are supposed to engage with all sense of civility with the citizens, but what we find is arrogancy, high-handedness, and criminality in trampling on rights of the citizens, a way of quelling protest. Police are supposed to guide protesters rather than attacking protesters. Police in sana climes guides protesters from any intruders or from being attacked. But what we have in Nigeria is the fact that police themselves are the ones that are on the offensive. They try as much as possible to attack the protesters first and thereby escalating the situation to a further level. And this is not right. The police needs to be properly trained in this aspect of crowd control, engaging with conflicts. Now, looking at the fact that most of the political players we have did not sympathize or empathize with the victims of the ENDSARS protest, or some of them were even accomplices in the crime of shooting or aiding and abetting shooters, or even ordering the military to go and shoot these protesters rather than protecting them. Some of these political players are up right now in the process of the 2023 election. Now, the impact of the ENDSARS protests, how is that going to affect their political career or their political profile come 2023 election? These are some of the questions I want viewers to answer. It has been adjudged that the Lekki toll gate, somebody ordered the shooting, somebody ordered that cameras be removed, and somebody ordered that evidences that will have been used by the panel of inquiry were removed before they could get to some of those, and even some evidences were even hidden or somehow in that way. Can we rightly say that there was distortion of evidence or destruction of evidence by some of the political players? A case in point is the fact that a former governor of Lagos State, who is incidentally a contestant in the 2023 election as one of the presidential candidates, has a hand in the atrocities that happened at Lekki. There is also some sayings that some other of the political aspirants did not condemn the acts that happened in Lekki, or they did not make an appropriate statement to condemn the Lekki imbroglio. Now, what or how is this going to affect the forthcoming election? That is a question that I will want viewers to respond to. Will the actions or inactions of the political players affect their outcome in the 2023 elections? Food for thought, viewers. Let me hear what's your take on this. Is the Lekki incident going to, in any form, assuage voters' participation in the 2023 election? Has it galvanized or encouraged the electorates to be actively involved in the processes that leads to the choice of candidates that will ultimately determine their destiny as governors, local government leaders, state leaders, and of course the federal leaders? Let me hear your comments, suggestions, and of course concerns about this. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a program that comes to you every Thursday, Nigerian time, at 7 p.m. under the auspices of the Global Coalition for Security and Good Governance in Nigeria. We will be embarking on a quiz in no time, and I will want Nigerians to cue into that and ensure that they participate in the forthcoming poll that we'll be conducting on the 23rd of this month. That's on Sunday. Please participate actively so that we'll be able to choose a preferred candidate for the forthcoming election. I urge you to please be a part of that process to choose a candidate for the forthcoming election. On that note, I leave you today And until you come your way again, this is Jay Eizefa Okale, your regular host on this program, Eyes on Corruption. Why I create your indulgence to please participate in the forthcoming election of online election to choose our candidates. Please be aware that on the 23rd of October 2023, whoever we choose by the diasporans will be that person that's going to be supported, and that's how we're going to do it. Thank you and have a good day. Until I come your way again, it's good.